Welcome everyone to the Game Dev Discussion Podcast. Before we get into this week's episode, I just want to give a quick shout out. There's a new podcast. I know there's a lot of these coming up recently, and out of all of them, the one which has come up I quite like is the All Inclusive podcast run by Jasmine and Ash. I know that right now I guess you could say the 3D industry is kind of saturated with a lot of podcasts, but these guys, I've really enjoyed it. I listened to it, and it's probably one of the more enjoyable ones. And their first guest is this week's guest, Jeryce Dianingana from Rocksteady, environment artist at Rocksteady. Dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh man, thank you. We can finally talk, man.
Man, we've been wanting to do this for so long. It's just been a case of getting us two lined up.
Yeah.
I mean, I've met you in the past. We worked in the past, and then it's like we met at the Dynasty meetup and seen some of the best dancing I've ever. Well, best and worst. You got to see my terrible dancing, and I got to see your fantastic dancing.
Come on, your move are not that bad. Not man.
There's too many people. Dude, there's too many people. There's too many photos of how it went down to like try. Flattery gets you everywhere, but you're not gonna get past on that one. But you have been very busy recently. You've, out of all the environment artists I know working in the games industry, you have the most distinct portfolio because you have a style. We talk about illustrators who have their own distinct styles. You have a style with your environment art, and you've called it like Afro-Art. Now, with all this, at what point did you because you've gone all in recently on the Afro-Art, and I feel like there was I'm guessing there's a point you went all in, because when people are developing their portfolios and they're doing personal art, it tends to be very inspired by a lot of external things, like what the industry is doing, concept art, whatever that might be. Where did Afro Art come from you?
So when it's always been there, it's always been. I always loved, and I grew up in that culture and around that beautiful art, So I think the exact moment when I knew and when I started to do this, it was during the ArtStation challenge.
Mm-hmm.
The first ArtStation challenge that I did was the Beyond Human. So before that, I was just finding my own style, in the 3D. So I was trying different things, and I wasn't really proud of my previous creations. It was just I felt like it was too generic and wasn't really looking like me,
Mm-hmm.
And this was the problem issue, that I didn't really connect it to my art. And the second thing was that I wasn't seeing my culture in our current, industry and other medias like movies and stuff. So at one point, I just decided, to do it myself.
Man, there's an element of design in there as well. This is something I think this is what's for me resonated really well, especially you see it really heavily in your Wakanga hotel. I can imagine this building. I can actually imagine being in this building, which is fantastic. But there's an element of design past just the it's not a technical showcase trim sheets, or because that's the stuff we look at portfolios. When you're looking, it's how did you do the trim sheets, how did he bake his lighting? This was just pure design food. It was you look at it and you could just look at it as a piece of art. Is that always been with you? And because you seem to be able to flex that now with all your Afro Art stuff, your real design nature to it.
So I choose to participate in that competition without choosing a concept art. So the hardest part was to come with this design myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I received a lot of help from my family, from my cousins in Africa, from some friends in the industry. And I just tried. I spent the contest was 55 days, and I think I spent maybe 35 days into finding the good composition and idea. And but I had a good vision in my mind. I had already a good vision in my mind, and the first vision, the thing that wanted was to do a city and a river. I just wanted to do a river because of the Congo, the actual Congo River. Since my parents are from Congo, and I go and I went into that place a lot of time. The most striking like thing that I saw in Congo was the river.
Mm.
The Congo River is the second biggest river in the world, and man, it's it's fantastic. So I wanted to capture that feeling to have a river and having a city nearby. So when I had those two things, those two ideas, I just had to find an interesting way to present that idea. So what I did is to ask my cousin. My cousin lives in. I got most of my family are still in Congo, so I asked a couple of cousins to send me some references for houses, traditional things and stuff, such. And I received a lot of photos. I received maybe 1 gigabyte of photos. They were very, very, very nice, very, very helpful. So I had a lot of discussion with them, like what would be nice, what would you like to see, for example, in a movie, or um, you know, like in that kind of area. And we had after a lot of discussions, um, the thing that I wanted, the thing that we wanted to make is a statement.
Mm-hmm.
So a city, you can find sci-fi, science fiction cities all over, outstation and whatever. But we wanted to have a big African statement. So I think I'm gonna say we now, because I made this project with a lot of people, and
Mm-hmm.
I need to thank them for that. So we wanted to have a big statement, and we don't see a lot of African culture in a lot of things. So I love masks.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
really
don't I
love
know?
masks. You can even see some mask in my bedroom right now. But yeah, I really love masks, and my cousin really love masks too. So we found some masks, some actual masks from Congo, Ghana, Mali, Senegal, and other places. We just had to find the perfect shape for a building, and we
Mm-hmm.
found those masks from Ghana. And at first, I just wanted to put them, in like different places in the city, but it was like too feeling too like too small. We had
Mm-hmm.
we needed to, a big impact on the viewer. So we decided to put it. Now this idea came to me, yeah, thanks to my cousin, and I don't remember. I think it was Black Panther was gonna be released in a few months. So I was watching a lot of. I was watching the trailer. I've watched the trailer maybe 10 times, I think.
Mm-hmm.
10 times, and the even in the comics, you can see, the big panther, on a cliff or whatever, like a big statement of the city. And I wanted to have that kind of things in my city. So mask on a building, mask on a building. That was the thing.
Well, it's funny you mention masks because that's one thing you don't shy away from. Like a lot of environment artists, they kind of like they have their zone, which is environments, and the human form and faces and all that sort of stuff. Myself included, traditionally shy away from, and that's one thing I think why your environments feel so like I buy them so much as an image, and I look at them as a piece of art rather than just as a technical piece, is because you have characters, like you have human form in all your environments. Is that intentional, or is that just something you just feel like I need to express this and these shapes do it best?
I love, yeah, statues and organic stuff like statues. I think statues, mask, and other thing like that give a lot of depth and even storytelling to your environment. So I trained my zebra skills a lot because I wasn't that good before that. But I think it's a good skill to have for an environment artist, but it's hard to do. Like statues and organic stuff are pretty hard to do because you even have to learn a little bit of anatomy. So no, that's one thing that I really wanted to learn. And in all of my environment, you can see statues and masks because in Africa too, we love shape statues, human shape, and that kind of thing. So I can't do an African environment without having that kind of thing in my art.
It's funny as well because I guess so. One thing we always talk about when you're doing like portfolio pieces or training pieces is have personality. You know, if you're a weapons artist, don't just do another AK. I haven't seen a million AKs. And I apologize for the dog. I actually probably hear a little bit of dog barking in the background. Um, but your masks are great props. If you think of this as a prop to practice texture skills on, which actually is your personality coming through. Again, was that intentional? Was that like, did you make it them and it just so happened that they ended up the way that they did? Like, because I feel like that is what we should be doing as artists is find something that represents you and what you do and use them to practice your skills and refine your skills, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's masks. That's me. Even if you ask like a friend or a member of my family, yeah, they're gonna associate it mask with me. That's one thing that I that's the thing that I love the most in the world. No, mom coming first. The mama is coming first. But I really love mask, and yeah, I feel like I want to put mask everywhere, even like video games as that. Well, I want to put mask everywhere, but I need to to contain myself a little bit. I need to do all the things because I'm making a lot of making a lot of masks. I need to do other stuff. But I really, man, when I see a mask, even not 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 always African mask, even like it can be a Japanese, Asian,
Mm-hmm.
or other things. I think it's I don't know. The mask represents so much things in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
It can represent like a dead person, a religion, like a god, or anything like a lot of things. And I love how it can define a country, and a culture. So that's what I love with the mask.
I have got one thing I need. So I've had beef for a long time. I have always said that like I've always been like UE4 is like miles ahead of Unity, and the only reason I have not completely shut on Unity is because of your art. You have managed to show me that you can make stuff look good in Unity. But yeah, the art speaks for itself. All the art looks incredible. Why did you? Because I know Unity can be difficult. I know how difficult Unity can be. We've done work in the past in Unity.
Yeah.
Why did you stick with it for so long? Was it a case of you were quite proud of the fact that like, hey, I'm making good shit in Unity, and you guys are using Unreal Engine? That's easy. I'm doing it in Unity, which is better. Like, what? Why did you stick with it so long?
No, you know me. I'm not like that. A little bit. A little bit. No, basically, I started to learn 3D with Unity, like with back in I think Unity 4, I think, and I found it quite easy to use. Like you said, my pieces are not very technical. I'm not using a lot of complicated shaders or whatever, so I
Mhm.
don't feel the need to use this big engine like Unreal.
Mhm.
Like I have this idea in my head. It's just my environment are just a mask, a statue, a couple of walls, and lighting, and that's it. I don't feel the need to go in Unreal and make some nice, beautiful shader and complicated, life accurate lighting and whatever. Of course, you can do some beautiful stylized stuff on Unreal, pretty good, like Jasmine does.
Yeah, that was sick.
But I just feel comfortable with Unity. Just I know the engine very well. I know everything that I need to turn on, turn off. So I think it's since I'm working in a company, I just don't want to bother having too have to work with too many things. So when I open up Unity, I see this case, okay, bloop, bloop, bloom, bada beep, bada boom. I put my art and that's it, you know?
But you're
And
looking at Unreal recently, though, right?
yes,
So why? Why then?
yes.
What's happened?
I'm sorry, Unity. No, yeah, I started to look on Unreal because I just need to explore more, I think. I've done a lot of things with Unity. I've worked with Unity 6 years, even 7, I would say. So now it's just my curiosity playing around. Like, what if I take this scene that I made with Unity and place it in Unreal? Or just curiosity. It's just experimenting, basically.
That's fair. I mean, if it sounds like you're doing it for like because I know you've mentioned in the past, and we've hung out on Discords in the past, and I've heard you say it. And I'm like, I've never really dug into why, but
Yeah.
that's a pretty reasonable reason. Like, you just want to stretch your understanding.
Mm.
Speaking of Discords, you have a reputation, a good reputation. I think it's fair to say. You're very straight talking. You don't mix your words. If you mean something, you say it very bluntly and very frankly. Um, and to be honest, for me, like from the outside, I mean, I've seen good friends on receiving end of one of your scoldings. But it's always fair. People respect you for it. They appreciate the honesty, and I think that's something that's very rare in our industry. I mean, we're a very nice, happy, like, oh, be very kind, and it's like, but sometimes people need to hear some home truths, and you're very always willing to be both the arm around a shoulder nice guy, but you play bad cop very well. Like, you could tell people a few home truths when they need to hear it. Like, again, where does that come from? Like, what gives you the confidence to do that? Because I guess that is a confidence thing as well. Because it's hard to say to somebody, no, what you're saying right now is not correct, and you should do this. And I'm not mixing my words. No, I know this is fact, and people appreciate that. And like I said, I've seen it. I know the community really appreciates it. Where does that all come from? Because it's very hard to do in this industry. Like I said, we're very we sugarcoat everything in this industry, both in professional work and personal work. Everyone likes to say everything's great, and it's like they're very kind and like gentle. Whereas you're very no, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Fix that, fix that, fix that. This will look amazing. Like, where does that all come from?
First, I love the relationship that I have with people. I love people and I love our industry. And I want to see the people that I like succeed in our industry. So I think to do that, to succeed in our industry, is to have a lot of feedbacks. And for that, you need to be blunt. I think you need to be harsh sometimes. It's tough love. It's it's but before speaking honestly like that, I always try and remember them that I not saying that to be mean and and always trying to feel to tell them to that I want to help them first before launching any feedbacks. Like, you did some great work. I like your work. I like you too. I like you, but and I want you to succeed. So now you need to get rid of that shit.
Well, everyone knows it works as well, because you've started getting into mentoring recently. We saw your new recent piece, which was fucking incredible. Like, it looked amazing. I know you helped a lot with that. I've seen you helping other people in the Discord. Again, this and like, I might be ignorant to this. This is quite new for you, right? Like, you're becoming a lot. You're moving into this like teaching role a lot more. Like, I see you interacting with people a lot more in that capacity. Is that like, again, where's that?
I'm not gonna say it's new, because before being active on the on internet, like on Twitter and Discord, I was teaching in Paris in my previous school. In my old school, I was giving classes. So I always liked helping people and giving feedbacks and that kind of stuff. So I just had to. It was a bit hard at the beginning to give feedbacks online, because people don't know me. So when you are a teacher, people know that you are the teacher, so it's okay. But people online can take it personally, you know. If you don't know the person well, this person can take this feedback in a bad way and like, oh, who are you? Why are you giving me that feedback? I don't, you know, they can take it. So I think you need to be careful. That's why I trying to show my personality first, that that I like to talk with people. I like to I like to engage a real, conversation with people, like a friend, like a friendship, basically. Step that you need to have with people before starting, that feedback stuff. I think it's better when you know basically the person.
Yeah,
And
it's funny because I know you quite well, and it's whenever I see people like you who are very bubbly and energetic and super friendly, I'm always scared. Like everyone I've known like that in the past, I'm like, okay, for every high, there's an opposite low. So if someone's like kind of nice all the time, but it means they can be kind of mean when they want to be. If someone's super nice, like they can scold you if they need to. And I remember when we first started speaking, I saw the energy. And I was like, oh, I know people like this. I wonder if Jeryce like has an edge to him. And then I saw it, and I was like, yeah, he does have an edge. This is fun. Like that's what I've always found. People who are like that, who have that high energy and high positivity, there's always that counter side to it, and it depending on how drastic the scales are, as how drastic either end are. Were you taught in a similar way? Because I know for me, being from like a rugby background, I'm very used to very blunt and harsh critique all the time, and that kind of like molded me as an artist, what I like to hear from my superiors. So for you, was that why you teach in the way that you do and you are the way that you are? Is that's how you were taught?
I got two reasons for that. I got
Okay.
two reasons for that. First is I used to box. I used to boxing a lot. So in martial art and whatever fighting sport, your coach, the relationship that you have with your coach is basically your parents, giving like harsh, tough love, but still being friendly sometimes. And the second reason, now it's kind of the first, but it's my mom. Yeah, I was raised by a single mom with
Mm-hmm.
3 kids, 3 brothers, three. Yeah, so that was hard for her. So she had to be really strong, firm, and honest with us.
Yeah.
So I think I'm taking that part from her. So,
It's definitely worked out well for you. I mean, you have like I think you due to the way that you are, like it's both all the positivity, but like the firmness is like you get a lot of respect for it, man. Like I said, it's hard to be that type of person, like because you have to put yourself out on a limb. There's always a chance someone takes it the wrong way and gets upset, which you make sure you try your best not to let happen because, like you said, you show your personality through. And I guess also it's easy, well not easy, but it's easier to be that way when you have an incredible portfolio to back you up. Like, hey, look, I'm being mean, but look, I can do this. Like, I'm not just talking out my ass. Like, I can do this, and I'm trying to help you. And I think actually with like a lot of artists that we speak to these days, coming out post grad and stuff, I don't think higher education does a great job in preparing you for industry, because again, you know what it's like. You'll lead, if something's not right, they'll tell you it's not right. This is shit, you need to do better, or this isn't great, you need to work at this. And I don't think until you get into that industry, until you actually enter the job field, you don't really experience that. Like in the wider community, Discord, online, Twitter, everything's so sugar-coated, you never experience the harsh reality of anything. So to see this side of it, where people like you, I know Mike Kinsey's the same, I'm the same. There's quite a few artists like this who are very straight talking, honest, but it's because they want the best for you. I think it's actually a really good thing, because the amount of juniors you meet who enter the industry and it's kind of like they're hit by a wall of reality that you're going to be told when stuff's not good enough, and there's going to be no mixing of words. I think it's a good thing, right? Like I haven't seen it really it gets moderated so well by the community, because the community, when they see you act like that or speak that way, they're like, yeah, no, he's right. Yeah, he's actually completely right. He's not wrong. If somebody's rude when they do it, again, it gets picked up on. People like, hey, dude, you've been a bit of a dick. Like, there's no need to be like that. I think it's a very community moderated thing, right?
Yeah. I think that's why I think you have to know the person first. I think.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if I being mean with someone, another guy that I know, you for example, you're gonna say no, Jeryce is just want the best for you. It's not saying that to being mean. And also, I think I'm following like a couple of rules with feedbacks. Basically, I'm never gonna give you what I'm call a free feedbacks, like without you asking for it. Like when I see one of your PCs and I'm like contacting you, hey, you need to, you should not, you shouldn't do that, or I'm just giving feedbacks if this person wants a feedback.
Yeah, and I guess that also comes with as well. I mean, I've seen you with multiple people teach people how to take feedback. Hey, if you ask for feedback, you're gonna get feedback, and they're not looking for justification behind everything. And that's an art in itself. I mean, as in receiving feedback, is an art in itself. Like, learning to do it humbly, whilst making sure your point's heard. Again, seeing people like you give you feedback and like interact with people, it's teaching people how this experience goes and how to do it properly. And when people get it wrong and you correct them, like at first, like it may seem harsh, but it's like, no, the next time you go about it the proper way, I think it's really good.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, like you said, it's a job itself to give feedbacks. Because even you, as the one who gives feedbacks, you can. Sometimes I saw some people giving feedbacks and being angry because the person didn't do his feedback. Like there is a balance, like with the receiver and the giver, and you have to know how to deal with people who don't want your feedback. Like it's his. You have to respect his art, basically. If he doesn't want your feedback, you have to accept it. Basically, you have to step back. It's your piece. I'm just saying that, to try to help you. But if you don't think that my feedback is not good for your art, it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's also down to you when you're asking for feedback to be clear on what you're talking about and what you're looking for. Yeah. So, for example, when I was doing our Cerberus scene, my whole goal was to stick one-to-one to the concept. There's a million things I could have done with that concept. And took it further, but I was staying like loyal to this concept. And I get feedback, and I posted critiques on it, and it's on me. I should have clarified earlier, but like the people like giving like very good ideas, like really cool ideas. You should do this. You should do this. You should do this. And I ended up ignoring the majority of them because I'm like, yeah, but that's all coming away from what my goal was, and that was a mistake on my part. I should have been clear on what I'm asking for. And I think that's probably where a lot of it comes from. When the one thing I do hate is when I see in multiple. I'm active in most of the art discords, and if I see just art posted, like there's a critique channel, and there's a piece of art dropped in there, no words, no reference, no dialogue. I'm like, no matter what I say, I'm probably going to miss the mark of what you're asking or what you're hoping for me to get. And then you see people who post their pieces of art in Discord, and they give very detailed breakdowns of here's my reference or my mood board. This is what I've done so far. This is what I still need to do. You can gauge your feedback, what you say. So, for example, someone says, I've already done this. You can then gauge to what you say, and that, okay, I know you said you already done this, but I think you might want to revisit it and tweak it. And that's down to how much you put in when you're looking for the feedback. And it makes your life easier as the person trying to help them. And it means what they get out of it's a lot better. But that's again, it's an art, isn't it? Because people, especially on Discord, man, like it's very easy to spam. Just drop my art in there, and whatever happens. Which, maybe more experienced artists like yourself and me will just sort of go, okay, there's not much I can say without you telling me more. So if they want more information, they can always ask. But we'll just leave it at that. Well, actually, since you are very active on the whole supporting and like mentoring and feedback side of stuff, within environment art, do you find yourself repeating yourself at all? As in, and what I mean by that is, you see common mistakes that multiple artists make?
Yeah, I see a lot of common mistakes.
Go on.
Like, for example, making a scene without having any references or not having any main shot, like key shots,
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I'm making this environment. Here's a couple of screenshots, like screenshot of this area, this shot of this corridor. But what's your beauty shot,
Mm-hmm.
basically? What's the shot that you want everyone to see first, basically? I don't know. Yeah, you need to know. Basically,
Yeah.
I think it's better when you have a beauty shot, like a key shot, like a main shot, and build your scene around this shot. And I think a lot of people, since it's an environment, they are thinking that you're just gonna walk or roam into that environment and that's it. No, I think they need to understand, like, basically composition. Basically, a lot of juniors are not really working their composition. They're just making an environment without thinking about the beauty shot, the composition, and what's the main thing in your environment and that kind of stuff. So I'm seeing a lot of this, and also some issues with the lighting. Uh, some artists, some environment artists are not taking lighting that that since they are environment artists, they push the lighting part a little bit on the side.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm giving some feedbacks on the lighting, they're like, yeah, but I'm not a lighting artist. Yeah, but
Yeah.
you still need to work on it. You still need to, to have a good lighting basically for your scene. So here's a couple of tutorials and that stuff, and they feel bothered by it. Some artists, I saw some artists feeling a bit bothered by it.
It's so important, man, because it's like I've done it myself. You can make the best prop in the world look like dog shit if you light it poorly, and in the same breath, you can make a really bad prop look okay if you light it well. It's hard. It is difficult though, because as we become more, I guess, segmented as an industry, I guess, like in AAA, you got like environment artists, but now you're starting to get like level artists, prop artists, lighting artists. And then you got like shader artists as well. And as we become more segmented, I guess like I could see the why an artist would be more reluctant to do lighting. So like, hey, I'm not a lighting artist, I don't really want to do this. But it's kind of like, look, do you want to post your scene or not and look good? Like your lighting will dictate whether this scene looks good or bad. Like not your environment. I mean, your environment obviously contributes, but you can ruin this whole thing with bad lighting. So you need to put some effort in, even if you don't want to be a lighting artist. Understanding it enough where you can like get something okay is essential. So you think that's overlooked though? You think people like, so is that something you've run into a lot then? Like people go, oh, I'm not a lighting artist, I'm not really that bothered about the lighting.
Some people, and I can't accept an environment artist. I love like I said, I love our community and I want you to succeed. But to post an environment without knowing, like for example, how to bake a light, like bake a light map, GI stuff, or like anything about lighting. Like, did you bake your lighting? Do you have some like light bounces on your environment? What is light bouncing? I was like,
Ooh.
oh, you want to post your scene right now? I think you shouldn't do that. So
Yeah.
before posting your scene, you should go on the like on the document page or whatever and read about lighting and what is bounce. What are bounces? What is light bounces or light baking or whatever.
Yeah, because even if you're doing a fully dynamic scene, understanding what a light bounce is as a like a lighting term, like okay, I'm doing dynamics, so I can't do light bounces. Fine, I need to fake light bounces, and by understanding what light bounce is, I can then put my lights in and fake it. But if you don't know what it is in the first place, like you go, hey, you do light bounces, what are they? Oh, that's why you got these black horrible spaces in the environment. We need to fix that. But I think it might be. This is why I need to get more into it because I will spend more time in critiques. I don't think I've met. Well, I don't speak to many juniors about their art outside of the mentoring, and it's like if I can't imagine where I'd start with that because it's difficult. Like, because I'm an environment artist, I'm looking at lighting, but I'm by no means able to teach. So it's kind of like I imagine a lot of it is just like, okay, you need to know about this. I'm not the person to teach you, but here's a ton of resource which will teach you because I can only take you so far. It's hard as well because it's not meant. I was actually looking myself for a lighting mentor not long ago, and it's like they're few and far between, man. They're rare. Like lighting artists are like gold dust. Like so, if I just want to teach this stuff, it's difficult, man. It's really difficult.
Oh, it's difficult. I love lighting, but I'm not at the level of those guys, like Peter Tran.
Pietran, Brian
I can
Lelou,
Brian Lulu.
Tim.
Oh my god, those guys. And that's basically when I see some people struggling with their lighting, I'm just pointing them to those guys. Like I can give you that feedback that your lighting is not really accurate, so you should go see their work. Basically, I think it's just being aware of what you can do with the engine and what other people can do with it. Like having inspiration and references, like a reference board, like a mood board, or everything. Like, oh, this guy made this lighting, so I'm gonna put this render in my pure ref, and I'm gonna try to get to that result. And a lot of people, I think, are missing that part. Like having goals, basically like clear goals. Like I want to get to that point.
Yeah, the goal side of thing, I mean, that's what I live and die by as an artist. Is every single piece is like, okay, has a clear goal. Once I've met that goal, I'm kind of okay with posting. Like as long as I've met my goals and what I was wanted to teach myself. What I think is difficult is because as well, when you mentioned the composition thing, like I've done that where like I've just sort of worked on this scene and there's no composition I'm worried about. I'm just working on a space, and I did so much work I didn't need to do compared to like a later scene where I've put my cameras in and I what I want. Everything behind the cameras I couldn't care less about. It could be just empty space, but what's in front of the cameras needs to be good. And that saved myself so much time. And that is actually probably the biggest mistake I see from juniors as well. Just okay, I'm gonna block out this scene and I'm gonna make everything in here. And it's like, but you don't see any of this stuff like over in the corner. Oh well, maybe you should make that. Just set your cameras up and don't touch that stuff. But I need to make a whole scene, don't I? You need to make some shots. You're not making a game environment, you're making a portfolio piece. Like, save yourself some effort here.
And that's like if you see, like for example, my Wakongo hotel behind, like it's all it's all fake. It's like basically it's like a cinema, cinema scene, like a cinema with fake lights and stuff behind, and basically it's like that. Because sometimes when I'm giving feedback with lighting, it's like, yeah, but I don't have any lights. I don't want to put a point light, for example, in that corner, to fake light bounces because it's not accurate. It's not, realistic. Yeah, but have you seen lighting on a cinema set, like on a film set?
Yeah. Just push them towards Kieran Goodson's article where the artists in there very thoroughly explain we break PBR all the time. PBR is to keep artists in line, is to make sure we all have the same set of rules, so that when we need to break it, it's a consistent break whenever we decide to do it. If everyone's just doing their own thing outside of PBR, then everything's fucked. But yeah, lighting, like they break PBR all the time. It's not like I'm not saying that as like a diss. Like they have to make things look good. Like real life is boring. Like I mean, even look at the way the lights behaving in our offices right now. Like walls look flat and boring and dull. Like we have to fake stuff to make stuff look good.
Yeah,
And
totally.
and for me as well, I guess that's where the experience is as well. Like between like juniors to mids to seniors to leads and principals, it's just knowing how you could do stuff. Like every junior artist has a base level of skill as an artist that they wouldn't go hired otherwise. But understanding of the development of like, okay, I can bend this rule here, or I can break this rule here. That's where experience comes in. I feel like that's where the job titles really get as a black and white line. Is difference between a mid and a senior. A senior can do things a little bit quicker, but they know how to do things and how to break things to get a good result. Yeah. And that's my experience anyway.
It's basically, no, you're right. We're basically good cheater. We know how to cheat. We know how to bend the rules. But when I started 3D, I was like, no, everything needs to be perfect. Like the lighting. I'm gonna put a lamp here. I'm gonna put this object, no intersection. I was very hard on myself. Before that, and after a couple of years, I just wanted to make a beauty, like something pretty. So at some point, I was like, nah, just gonna make something pretty. I'm not gonna bother. I'm always struggling at work, you know. On my personal time, I just want to have fun, basically.
It's alright. One day you're gonna be a designer, I think. On it, I can imagine you. Literally, I can imagine you working on like Black Panther 2 and you're or whatever, and you're
Don't say
like,
that. I'm gonna cry, man.
oh, I know, yeah, that's
Yeah.
that caught
Rest
me
in
by
peace.
surprise.
Rest in peace, Chadwick.
But I can imagine you on something like that. I can imagine you designing some sets. Like, hey, here's like a design language which I've come up with, and the Wakanga Hotel. I can imagine that that's why I think everyone liked it so much. Is that everyone could there's like a point of reference where they're like, I could see that in a film, and I love the fact as well. I think a lot of people get to this stage in their careers where it's like, okay, I'm working really hard at work. I just want to make beautiful art at home. I'm the same with the material stuff. I'm like, materials are fun. They're really fun experiments. Is it like leveling me up as an artist for like employability? Probably not at this point. But I like making them. They're fun. And it's the same for you, I guess, with this stuff. Like everyone listening, I know this is like an audio podcast. Please go to Jeryce's like art station and check out the stuff we're talking about. Like, it is a delight to go through as far as portfolios go. Like, it's up there. Some of the best stuff you're gonna look at. I've been told not to gush often, but I am going to gush on this one. Please go listen to it. Check it out. I guess since you're such a busy bee, what have you got coming up in the future? Are you? Is there any scenes you're working on? Is there any like particular projects you got your eye on? What can we expect from you in the future?
I got a lot of things. I got a lot of ideas, and a lot, like every artist, I want to do a lot of things. Basically, I still want to make African stuff, to teach people and people to be aware of African art. So at some point, I wanted to make like a tour, like a visit of maybe a big environment in Wakongo. Maybe, like a FPS, and you are just walking around Wakongo. So that would be a big thing. That's something that it's all just stuck in my mind. Like, I need to do this at some point. Like, for example, the Wakongo Hotel, you walk in that hotel and you can have access to another zone, and then, basically a museum, like a virtual tour of a museum or a place or science fiction place.
But, I got something for you. I'm going to put an idea in your head now, and I want to see what you think of this. So I love the hotel theme because the thing is with the hotel, I guess, is they are sort of like curated places. Functionality goes out the window a little bit with a hotel. We want to make this place look beautiful. One other place like that, and I was watching been watching a lot of TV about restaurants recently. People like visiting the top restaurants across Europe, and they're always pieces of art almost. Like, ignore the fact that people eat food here. They're always beautifully laid out. They're beautifully lit. They're conveying moods and emotions. A Wakongo restaurant would be very interesting. Very interesting to see, Jeryce.
To put some African food on the plate, on the menu, and stuff. Mom, what can I put on that menu? Oh, you should put this. That would be really nice, and that would be Wakongo restaurant. Because even in the Wakongo hotel, I put some signs and stuff. I put a lounge and restaurant, and then. I already thought about this. But
that's good. That's good. That means it's going to be coming up soon then, right? If you already put thought into it, that means you're working on it. Come on.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day you're going to see a restaurant, an African Wakongo restaurant with a lot of African food on the menu. I'm sure some friends and family would be happy to see, on screen some African menu.
That'd be amazing. Jeryce, dude, thank you so much for coming on. I know this is short notice. This is a short notice turnaround. I really appreciate you coming on. I mean, I love speaking to you all the time, man. Like, I'll hang out on Discord with you most days if I can, because you're just full of energy. It brightens up my day.
And I'm containing myself from dancing and whatever. Just like 1 hour on cam, it's too hard, man.
Well, you asked for cam. You said this morning. So the Art Station podcast just dropped, and you're like, "Where's the cameras?" It's like, there you go. You got cameras.
But you need to connect with the artist. Just seeing just a static image is a bit boring. You need to see the person like you. Look at you, look at you. I like seeing you, man.
Man, everyone listening, please remember, like, follow, share, subscribe wherever you are, because the more this podcast gets shared around, the more that people get to hear the fantastic stuff that Jeryce has to say. But man, we're going to wrap up. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, and shout out to every people watching this podcast. Shout out to my parents, brother, my neighbor.
Peace out, guys.